So I've seen quite a few anime films now, and gang, I think I can confidently say that nothing could prepare me for how beautiful Suzume turned out to be. Makoto Shinkai has completed his three-peat for sure. Making Your Name, Weathering With You, and Suzume in a row is super impressive if you really think about it. Dog, Suzume went above and beyond despite me having high expectations from watching the previous two films. I heard a lot of people comparing this to Your Name, and a common opinion that I've seen is that it's not as good as Your Name. And I do agree with that to a certain extent, but there are some things that Your Name does a little bit better than Suzume, but there's also some things that Suzume does better than Your Name. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it, as always, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button and the notification bell for more anime analysis and review videos just like this. So, we do things right here. First, we start off with the story. The story in this movie is phenomenal, plain and simple. These films so far have all really had like bizarre and unconventional storylines, and this was no different. So let's do our quick recap and summary. Our story follows a high school girl named Suzume who stays with her aunt Tamaki. Suzume's mother passed away when she was very young at like 4 years old, and her aunt took her in and raised her as her own basically. One day, on her way to school, she rides by this guy she's never seen before, and this guy asks her if there's any ruins around so he can find this door that he's looking for, and she gives him the directions to him. Curious about the guy, she ends up going to these ruins herself and finds the door that he was looking for. She opens it and finds this realm that she was in when she was a kid not too long ago. At the beginning of the movie, they showed it. Realizing that she can't get through, she then picks up this statue, and this statue turned into a damn cat. So she was like, hell no, I got the fuck on, as she should. But she left the door open. She went to school, and then when they were eating lunch, she sees a cloud of smoke coming from those same ruins that she told the guy about. And she rushes back to find that exact same guy trying to close the door that she left open, and the smoke is coming from that door that she opened. After a struggle on successfully closing it, we found out that his name is Sota. He's a closer. A closer is responsible for locking these gates to the ever after, which is that realm that worm stays in. The smoke that she's seen is a worm. That same cat pops up and turns this nigga Sota into a chair, and it turns him into the chair that Suzume's mother made for her and the one that she still has. So long story short, they're trying to close more gates and try to get Sota his body back at the end of the day. Now that I laid out the basic version of the plot, I must say that the way that they handled this was really good. This whole supernatural journey was fun to experience, especially when they evolve these cool ass like regular people on the way to the end goal. This shit has some good ass plot twists in it too. I really love how they presented them too, man. And I also love how some things were left up to our own interpretation. I'm always giving bonus points for that. The reveal of the second keystone during that intense-ass moments between Tamaki and Suzume was actually really surprising. It really broke up all that emotional tension with wait, what's up with this big-ass black cat over here? I thought that was really kind of funny, I ain't gonna lie. The reveal of the cat 𝐷𝐢𝐤𝐻's purpose was really godlike in my opinion. Revealing that he was leading them to these gates and actually trying to help Suzume this whole time was pretty shocking, and it instantly made me fuck with him as a character. It's pretty open-ended too. When they revealed that, I was kind of thinking like what his purpose was and why did he do Sota like that if that was his purpose. And I actually have a couple reasons. I thought of a couple reasons. 𝐷𝐢𝐤𝐻 actually took a liking to Suzume. You can tell in the actual story. He actually wanted to be her cat like he said. And I think that 𝐷𝐢𝐤𝐻 was using Sota to motivate Suzume, since essentially that was the only way that she would be able to end all this, if that makes sense. I think that shit is pretty genius if that's the route they went, in my opinion. I think that shit is pretty genius. The ending scenes were extremely powerful too. Connecting back to the first scene in the movie was a really great touch. Watching Suzume talk to her younger self that was stuck in the ever after was extremely beautiful and extremely emotional along with it. Seeing how helpless she used to be after her mom passed away and kind of revealing that she hasn't even fully gotten over it herself was fire too, I ain't gonna lie. This scene was super impactful in this movie, and I love the way they handled it and presented it. The ending sequence was raw as hell too, showing that her and Tamaki went back home, and on the way home they stopped at and linked up with all the cool people that Suzume met on her journey was a cool ass addition. Him that Suzume becoming a nurse like her mother was fire too. And of course seeing Sota come back and having him and Suzume meeting the exact same place where they met the first time was an amazing touch. Hats off, bro. Well played. The story was handled in this movie in a very phenomenal way, and I'm extremely impressed at how they made this one stand out amongst the rest. Compared to Your Name, I would definitely say the story in Your Name is definitely better, but I think it's supposed to be, if that makes sense. Your Name dealt with time travel. It has way more lanes and avenues for complex and engaging storytelling and the story elements. It's a lot of ways you can theorize about the story's outcome in Your Name. Suzume's story is a bit more linear, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's just a little bit more simple. and approachable if you ask me, because your name was actually pretty complex. Now let's move on to characters and character interactions. The characters are once again done very well in this film series, and Suzume continues this trend. There aren't even a lot of characters in these movies, but the ones we do get are all phenomenal. Suzume is great. She's super brave and extremely caring too. I mean, it's pretty obvious since she went on this whole journey just for Sota pretty much. She's extremely strong, especially considering that she's been carrying the pain of losing her mother at a really young age. Her mental fortitude is pretty unmatched too. She wasn't fazed at all by any of this supernatural shit after her first encounter. She also didn't even care how people looked at her when her ass was sitting there mingling with a whole ass chair. Like that. I know it looked funny as hell. I like how they show her vulnerabilities though. They really let us know that loss of her mother still affects her a lot, especially when she was on that Ferris wheel and she seen her in the ever after. I also like how strong her and her aunt's relationship is. After her aunt got mad at her because she felt like she took her life away, she was extremely understanding, and I think that's really cool. A lot of normal people wouldn't be able to save the relationship after something like that is said, but they were able to hash that out pretty fast. She's a really good balanced main character, and I think she's written extremely well. Sota was great too in my opinion. I really like how forgiving he ended up being, because this was definitely Suzume's fault, but he didn't make her feel shittier about it because I think that he knew that she knew already. He's a really good representation of a lot of guys in the world, in my opinion. For a while, he puts on this everything is okay front to Suzume and seemingly accepted his fate and ignored what he actually wanted. But by the end of the movie, he was actually able to break through that it is what it is and this is how it's supposed to be type mindset, and finally was able to express loudly and confidently what he desired without the strong guy front, which is actually really cool. He's actually a closer because it's a job that needs to be done. It's not because it's his passion. He wants to become a teacher. He wants to spend time with Suzume. He already has this ideal life that he wants. It's just external influences that push that further and further away from reality. I really like how they use that front to comfort Suzume though, the whole way through. And I was even happier to find out that he didn't get stuck into that cycle of faking it. Sota is a really well-written character. I really like his character. It's funny realizing that nigga was still cool as hell, even as a chair. Boy, 𝐷𝐤𝐤 is a cool cat, folks. 𝐷𝐤𝐤 is my nigga though, okay? The crazy thing is, I liked him even before they revealed that he was helping them the entire time. He was just a cool character. He really cares for Suzume a lot, and he does everything to lead her in the right direction, even if it makes her hate him, which is wild. It's a crazy cool thing what they did with him. I really like how he sprung to life once Suzume realized that he was helping. He was just a good-ass character, and he was a really effective character in the story as well. I really like how they did 𝐷𝐤𝐤. Tamaki was a great character too. I like how they exposed her mindset over time. I definitely wondered in the beginning why she hated guys so much, and she didn't want Suzume to talk to any guys like that. But when she had the little argument with Suzume, it made sense, and it immediately clicked. She blames Suzume for her not being able to live her life and date, and she's been telling Suzume not to date because she's kind of envious of her and she doesn't want her to experience it if she can. I know this all sounds like super selfish, and it is, and that's why I'm glad she let Suzume know that she only thinks like that less than 10% of the time, I should say. And the good outweighs the bad easily. I'm really glad that she let her know that. Tamaki is a great character. They took a really realistic approach with her mindset, and I really like how they revealed it over time and shown how she actually felt about the situation. All the people that Suzume met on her journey were really cool too. Terizawa was really cool. Miki, Rumi, and her kids were really cool. Chika was really cool too. I'm really glad that they showed them all more love in the credit scenes too. They did a great job with the character writing in this, man. Shout out to the voice cast as well. Now let's move over to looks, presentation, and music. Now, remember how I said that Suzume did some things better than your name? My nigga, this is where, bro, this movie is absolutely gorgeous. The visuals in this movie are absolutely breathtaking. And it's not just for a couple scenes, gang. There is an abundance of beautiful ass shots in this movie. From the worm scenes to any scene in the ever after, they made pretty much everything look phenomenal. Shout out to 𝐿 for the animation. This is one hell of a project to have on your resume. Alright, bro, I'm sorry. Presentation and animation ain't the only thing that they did better than your name, gang. I know that your name has sparkle and Dream Lantern, but gang, it seems like they put an absurd amount of love into the music in the movie. And not just even in the tracks with lyrics either, the entire soundtrack. And the sequence where they were closing the gate in Tokyo, that song they played during that sequence was probably one of the hardest beats I've ever heard in my life. Nah, I deadass thought Metro produced that bitch. I was nodding my head hard as hell during that entire part. And not to mention the title track too. The Suzume song just feels so grand and epic that I can't help but constantly listen to it. The cinematic drum hits, the vocals, the beautiful vocals, It's just so good, bro. The creative instrumental on it. I'm definitely adding a few songs to the 𝐥𝐤𝐤 playlist, link down below. The way that they presented this movie was extremely fucking special, and it's gonna be a while before I can say anything non-action looks or sounds better than this. Overall, I think Suzume is right there with Your Name and Where the World With You. These films have their own unique feel to them, and this one in particular just happens to be the most beautiful anime movie out there right now. Nigga, go watch this right now. Matter of fact, grab whoever you got around you and tell them to watch this with you. It's honestly a must-see in my opinion. I think all these movies are. These movies are packed with gorgeous and super emotional moments that make you question how it's even possible to create some shit this good. Suzume is simply goated, and I'm glad that I finally covered it. Please watch Suzume, man. You will not regret it. But that's all for me, man. As always, man, have a great day. Love y'all. Peace.